Let's talk about Pictionary. Now, you may be wondering, what does Pictionary have to do with music? Well, in 1990, the NES gave us this. What? Oh my god, it was just Pictionary! The music from early video game consoles was severely limited by hardware. There just wasn't enough space. Like now we can just take an MP3 of a beautiful orchestral work and just upload it to the game's files. But in the early 90s, that was very much not the case. And so video game composers were forced to work within the bounds of the hardware limitations they were dealt. The NES was a great example of this, and we've talked about some of the great music from various NES games in the past. But this one is an absolute just absurdity. What? No way! Oh my god, okay. This is just like, and the hilarious part about it is we're talking about Pictionary, a drawing game. We're not talking about some crazy, you know, GTA game that you would expect to have like this really groovy soundtrack or something like that. No, we're talking about Pictionary. But when you put the task of creating the soundtrack to such a simple game into the hands of one of the most legendary video game composers that you may have not even heard of, Tim Follin, you get this. No! It's so good, and it's so absurd, and it's so over the top. And when it comes to Tim Follin's music, Pictionary is one of the long-lasting memes. And on just about every recording of this, you'll find the comment, "It was just Pictionary, Tim," when you're overqualified for the job. This song is that friend who takes Pictionary way too seriously. Tim Follin albums always came with a free game inside, and that was pretty nice of him. I have to admit, I did not know about Tim's music before I started finding some of these recordings. And the thing that amazes me so much about early video game music is the fact that they were working within such limitations. Now, while some early video game sound chips literally only had one single bit to work with, the NES sound chip actually had 5 channels, but usually only 4 of them were actually used. So what that basically means is there's only 4 opportunities to make a noise, which could be considered harmony, or could be considered melody, or could be considered rhythm or percussion. And it's within the limitations of this early video game hardware that we got some of the most insane music, perhaps none more insane than Tim Follin's music. I mean, the Pictionary soundtrack goes way harder than it has any right to. But for example, check out the theme from a game some of you may recognize. This is called Solstice. And this might be the most insane thing I've ever heard for early video game music. Just check this out. Pretty much just, you know, normal video game stuff. Oh, except that it does this. What? Oh my god, the complexity of the different layers going on, the counter melodies going on, the counter rhythmic figures going on in here. There's just so much to it. All done on this incredibly limited sound chip that had almost no opportunity to make noise, let alone enough layers that most of us would need to get a significant composition together. But Tim was just like, yeah, that'll work. Very influenced by a lot of things, in particular on the Solstice soundtrack, you can hear Tim's love for prog rock. I love how we just start out with this in C major, and I think we have like, it's just so simple. That's it. Where do we go there? Really? Yeah! Is that it? I think so. Yeah! what? In addition to the insane, we could so clearly hear this crash in the cymbals that don't exist. These are just sound waves. There's no sample for a cymbal or even a drum at all. Tim is literally hijacking the ability to program this little tiny chip that can't do much other than just make certain beeping and buzzing sounds, and he's creating a gigantic cymbal crash with it. And with that, he's playing, we've just established this intro in C major, right? But immediately we go up a major third to E. We go E major to A major, only A major has C sharp in the bass. And then we go back to E major, only we're putting the B in the bass. Check that out, that is so sick. We go to a G major chord with its fifth, D, in the bass. So let's look at that again. We have E major, A major, E major again, to G major. That's such a cool transition. It's so epic, you know? Sounds like we're kind of just going E major to A major. We have all these different counter melodies going on at once. And then oh man, okay, yeah, the prog rock influence here is palpable. But what an incredible, I mean, the different sounds that we're hearing out of this chip. I mean, it's not just like we have the same kind of whatever wave, synthesizer wave it would be considered. It's not, we don't have the same sound. The sound is changing. Every melody, every instrument has like a different timbre to it. It's hard to even decipher what's going on because there's so many layers and there's so many different counter melodies moving around all at once. Listen to there's so many in the middle, there's all these different motions going on. Oh man. And now we're in this whole new section. Are you serious? Changing key, same type of thing again. What is going on? What even is? Hold on. Oh, wow. Okay, so we have this. Kind of in A, but we're sitting on the 5, and then we go to we go to D flat major, from A major to D flat major, but we're using the 5s of each of those chords as the root, which creates this we're not home yet. It hasn't really resolved. We're still kind of up in the air. It's like, where are we going? We have no idea. That could kind of go anywhere. Maybe it resolves, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't. Ooh. Boy, the root movement is so interesting here. Okay, so we're going D flat over A flat. B over, I guess in B major, it's D sharp. There's another A major. I think just down a whole step to G major. We end up in F sharp major. That's just, for a video game on an NES, with all the limitations, how do you even write things this in depth? Oh my god. There's just so much to these soundtracks. They're absolutely unbelievable. Like that tremolo thing in the beginning, that's such a great way to utilize a single channel to give the illusion of chords. Now, in this case, I don't think the intention is to create that illusion because the tremolo, that is very obvious, but what you end up hearing is, like, listen to that. It's very, very clear that those are the chords. And Tim only needed to use one channel to get that sound because at any given time, we're only hearing one single note. But you can flip them back and forth really quick and it still sounds kind of like it's multiple at once. This is a technique that becomes even more important when we go back further in Tim's music, which I think we'll have to do in a later video because wow, is it just unbelievable how this early game stuff worked from a music composition standpoint. It's absolutely unbelievable. There's our tremolo again, right? Woo! Come on. No limitations whatsoever. Just find ways to work around them. Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh man! Who would have thought that early game chip music could be so in the pocket? Whoa! Oh man, you just listen to this and it's so full. It's all the different layers. Like, you would never guess that there are hardware limitations that literally tell you, hey, by the way, you're only allowed X number of layers at one time. You literally cannot tack on more stuff than that. If you want to do more stuff than that, you're gonna have to figure out how to do it by giving the chip instructions on what to play when, so that maybe if you need to, you can create the illusion of multiple sounds at once, but you can't actually do it. This was the genius of early video game composers like Tim Follin, and Tim Follin was very obviously at the top of this game. This is some of the craziest stuff from early video games I have ever heard. And when I went back even further than the NES, I was even more blown away by Tim's work because he was doing things with even more limited hardware that you just wouldn't believe. But that is a story for another video, so be sure to stay tuned for that one. In the meantime, thank you so much for checking this video out, and go check out some of Tim Follin's music because you will be blown away. That's gonna do it for me for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.